consisting of 7 members, led by an eminent lawyer. The other side gave us their second league to negotiate with our people. So as soon as the tempers went down, the temperatures went down, they called off the talks. They were no longer interested in those talks at all. There were clear issues, fundamental issues, which were on the table. One was the issue of the cost of living, which is very high. That was really number one issue. Number two issue was the issue of electoral justice, which I've already alluded to right now, the issue of putting a closure completely to the last elections in light of the information that came to light from the whistleblower. So we said, in order to settle the anxiety among the people of Kenya, let us do a professional audit, forensic audit of the server in the last elections. Because as you remember, during the counting and tallying at the Bomas of Kenya, there was a dispute among the commissioners. You had an electoral commission consisting of 7 members. Out of those 7 members, only 3 agreed with the results which was announced, including the chairman, but the chairman. 4 commissioners disagreed. They disputed the results, and they walked out, which is a very unprecedented move in the entire continent of Africa. And they went and gave a press conference and saying that they did not approve the results being announced by the chairman of the Electoral Commission. Unfortunately, the Supreme Court agreed with the chairman to our consternation. And since that time, those 4 commissioners who disagreed have been hunted out of office. They've been kicked out of the office, although their term had not expired. So we say that these 4 commissioners need to be reinstated because they did not commit a crime. They had a security of tenure, and disagreeing with the chairman on the outcome of the result being announced is not a crime. Not a crime. Even if the results were upheld by the Supreme Court, those people still had a contract running. That was another second issue. The third issue was the issue of inclusivity in government. We have said ourselves that we don't want they have the loaf. Those are terms I talk about in Sumukati. We don't want any part in this government. We say that very clearly. But we say that people who voted for Azimio are Kenyans. They are entitled to opportunities in the country. When you are hiring public servants, civil servants, or promoting them, there should be no discrimination. Because communities where these people come from also pay taxes. But they have been bypassed. Most of them have been sacked from public services, mainly because they come from the so-called wrong communities. As you know, we got more members of parliament in the National Assembly than these people. We are 50-50 in the Senate, even the gubernatorial. So at worst, we hold 50% of the country come from our side. When the deputy president himself goes public and says that Kenya is a corporation, that the people with shares, that some communities with more shares than others, there are other communities which have no shares at all, what are people supposed to do? Self-determination. Because what are we doing in Kenya if we have no shares in the government, if our people are not entitled to any kind of opportunities in the country? So that was an issue which was on the table. Then the other one was this invasion of political parties. We have coalitions, two major coalitions, Azimio coalition and Kenya Kwanza coalition. As I mentioned already, Azimio coalition had the majority of members in the National Assembly. But it immediately started invading Azimio coalition by buying leadership of some parties affiliated to Azimio to cross, contrary to the coalition agreement that was signed, and also contrary to the Act of Parliament, which requires that if a member of Parliament elected on a particular party's ticket wants to cross the floor, then he has to resign or he loses his seat and goes and recontest in a by-election. I myself, when I disagreed with my party that has sponsored me to Parliament in 1997, I resigned from Parliament and I went and was re-elected by my people back to Parliament. So we are saying that all these members of these other parties, the UDM, for example, the Jubilee members of Parliament, and ODM members who have, for all intents and purposes, crossed over to the Kenya Kwanza, ought to lose their seats and go and recontest their positions. That was also an issue which is on the table for discussions. So we had very fundamental issues which were being discussed, and these people just absconded and went away. What were we supposed to do? To sit and remain quiet when they then imposed the finance bill on us, now an act of Parliament, the cost of living is rising up. So we had no other option. Then we also invoked another provision in our constitution, which says that the sovereignty in the Republic of Kenya rests with the people of Kenya. That the people can either exercise it directly or through delegation to elected leaders. So what we started is to collect signatures of the people to show that they have no confidence in this government. Ruto got supposedly, according to Chebukati, 7.1 million. Already you have 8 million signatures signed, authentic people who are registered, who are saying that they have withdrawn their support for Mr. Ruto and Mr. Gachagua. So this we are also going to present.
I think the question was on the cost of living. It's not only affecting Kenya, the world over. We also have the weakening of the dollar and other factors. What, in your opinion, would it be for the cost of living?
See, you said, and I said I was talking from experience, as somebody who was running a government also before. You said that you do not deal with the cost of living by increasing taxes. So if you increase